Now the breaking news. The bond hearing is over for that suspect in the mass shooting in Highland Park, Illinois. Let's watch the news conference now.
There was probable cause to hold him at this time for 7 counts of first-degree murder. We have filed those counts alleging the intentional killing of 7 individuals. Based on the information that the investigation has produced so far, the judge found that the evidence was at such a level that he could be held without bond. Also, because the fact that it is a mandatory life sentence. Additional details were developed during that bond hearing. I know there was a pool reporter there for that. I can certainly answer some additional questions about that. I want to continue to emphasize that this is an ongoing and active investigation with all of our law enforcement partners. If anyone has any surveillance footage whatsoever of the July 4th Highland Park parade, we would urge them to contact the Highland Park Police Department. Deputy Chief Covelli probably has the best phone number for that. I can take a few questions.
Sure. Can you tell us, there's been this question about how the shooter obtained these weapons, this question about maybe the father sponsoring this license even after those initial contacts with law enforcement. Are you looking at any potential criminal charges with other family members, the parents perhaps?
I don't want to comment on that. I don't want to answer that question right now in terms of what our work continues to be to look at all of the information and evidence in this case.
Is there precedent to charge a family member who has signed off on a FOID application for someone who's under 21? Is there precedent for that?
That is not something that I have done in my administration. It is something we can get back to you on that question in terms of whether that's been done in the past. I know there was another state in Michigan, totally different set of facts. We can get back to you on that, but that's not something that I have personally done while I've been state's attorney.
The bond hearing, Mr. Primo's statement to police was discussed. Can you elaborate on that and what admitted to?
Well, his statement was voluntary. He was questioned in the Highland Park Police Department. He was read his Miranda warnings, offered attorneys, etc. He went into details about what he had done. He admitted to what he had done.
Can you provide new insight into his trip into Wisconsin and any potential motive or motivations for that?
No, and I was also asked the question if he said why he did it. We don't want to speculate on motives right now.
Was he spoken about?
I'm going to refer that question to Deputy Chief Covelli.
Certainly, our investigation is gone very much into what happened after the shooting, what Primo's plan was. Investigators did develop some information that it appears when he drove to Madison, he was driving around. However, he did see a celebration that was occurring in Madison, and he seriously contemplated using the firearm he had in his vehicle to commit another shooting in Madison.
Do you know how much ammunition he had at that point?
Approximately 60 rounds.
At that point, he did?
Yes.
60?
Yes.
What about his motivation for the attack in the first place?
His motivation isn't necessarily clear. I don't want to go specifically into what he told investigators. However, he had some type of affinity towards the number 4 and 7, and inverse was 7-4.
Do you believe his plan was to go to Highland Park and then to Madison all along? Or?
We don't have information to suggest he planned on driving to Madison initially to commit another attack. We do believe that he was driving around following the first attack and saw the celebration.
When he got to Madison, did something deter him from attacking, or did he appear to make a decision himself to not attack?
Indications are that he hadn't put enough thought and research into it.
Have you talked to the female witness you were looking for yesterday, and what did you learn?
We have not been able to locate her yet.
Do you know anything about the affinity to the numbers 4, 7, and what the significance is of that?
It apparently comes from music that he's interested in.
What about the weapons? We understand now that he bought one of them in 2020, but learn more information about that. What can you share?
Yeah, so in 2020 he bought 4 weapons. The weapon used in the July 4th attack, a Celtic Sub 200, a Remington 700, a shotgun. In 2021 he purchased a Glock 43X, and that was after his 21st birthday.
Sir, the shooter changed his mind and came back from Madison.
I can't speak to why he decided to come back from Madison. There are indications that he didn't put enough planning forward to commit another attack. There's been some questions about the FBI and their response in Madison, evidence technicians in Madison. He did dispose of his phone in Madison, the Madison area in Middleton. That phone has since been recovered.
Is the father cooperating with the investigation?
I don't want to go into levels of cooperation. We're talking to everybody, though, and working on getting the most cooperation we can out of everybody.
Discuss how long this plan.
In 2019, Highland Park notified the state police about the knife incident. Is there not a mechanism in this firearm identification law, that hard law, that is there not a mechanism where that should have stuck around? Like, why wasn't that flagged when just months later he's getting a gun?
I don't want to speak to the state police's protocol or procedure. I do believe they've issued some information about that incident, the information they received, and their decision-making that went into that process. That really solely rests on them, and I don't want to speak to their protocol.
But to your knowledge, there's nothing in their system that holds on to those things. If the person
I don't have access to their system to even know that, so I really don't want to speak to that. Dana?
I think in clarification, it was a little unclear. So the Smith & Wesson that was that recovered on the ground, and that was the weapon that fell out of the bag and used in the shooting, or was the rifle used in the shooting recovered on the roof?
The rifle used in the shooting was recovered on the ground. That's the object that he dropped. We're still looking to speak to the witness who saw him drop an object wrapped in a red blanket or red cloth.
So we actually still have a rifle with him.
Chris, do you guys still think it was dropped intentionally or dropped accidentally?
I don't want to speculate on why. There could be a lot of reasons why. I don't want to speculate.
Did he shoot anybody?
All of the shooting was done on the roof.
Can you clarify what weapon he had in Madison, Wisconsin when he decided not to do it?
The Celtic Sub 200 is what he had in Madison.
Can you provide information about what services will be available at 12 p.m. at the Hyde Park High School?
Absolutely. The FBI Victim Service Response Team, they're opening their Family Assistance Center today at noon. That will be open at the Highland Park High School. It's going to be open from noon to 9 p.m. It's for anybody impacted physically, emotionally by the events that happen in Highland Park. Tomorrow and Friday, it'll be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and thereafter as needed. Additionally, personal effects that were on the parade route are being evaluated by the FBI Evidence Response Team. That's going to take a bit of time. The personal effects that were on Central between 2nd and Green Bay, those should be available this afternoon for those that want to collect their property that was left in those areas. The Highland Park High School.
Sir, during the bond hearing, there were some details about how the shooting happened. The fact that he reloaded. Can you sort of summarize what was said in the bond hearing?
So from the bond hearing, we learned quite a bit from the prosecutor, and then you just saw the deputy police chief, Cavelli, who we've been seeing daily now since the mass shootings. There was some sort of, with the suspect, a fascination with the numbers 4 and 7. You invert that, and that's 7-4, which is July 4th. They're piecing together a case, and that's happening out in the open. And none of this becomes concrete because it is all going to be adjudicated. But I'm just giving you some of the things that seem to pop out. Apparently, the suspect drove around and saw that there was a July 4th event in Madison and thought he might stop there. At that point, he had about 60 rounds left. He didn't. And so there were a lot of reporter questions that you just saw right then about what deterred him from doing that. The deputy police chief said, well, he didn't feel like he was prepared. We do know that he had confessed right after he was arrested to authorities. And the big question today from reporters as well was, well, why did he do this? Has anybody had a chance to get that answer? The deputy police chief said no. And prosecutor also said, we don't know. He didn't say, but he did admit to doing this. All right, we're going to move on